Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Planet Lizzdom, Planet Lizzdom. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm so tongue-tied because I am so excited to see all of you this week. I'm not even going live yet, and my phone is already blowing up with comments. We're going live, and already the comments are blowing up in the StreamYard app for you guys. I'm so excited this evening, so please tune in, turn on, and take part because Planet Lizzdom is all for you. So welcome back. If this is your first time watching, Planet Lizzdom is really a show designed for you, the artist, the entertainer, the creator, the innovator. And we're here to discuss and celebrate how not only are you surviving, but you're thriving. And I'm so happy to say by episode 12, I even had the really great luxury of speaking with a lot of great people who all have the same sort of experiences, but they're also very different experiences as well to bring to the table. And tonight's guest is no exception. He is a marvelous actor, an amazing DJ, and such a personality. I have had the good fortune to know him for a very long time. I won't say how long, but I do want you all to give a very warm and heartfelt welcome to my friend and fellow actor and DJ, Derek Gilroy. Hi,
Hello.
Derek. How are you?
What's going
Welcome
on?
to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. I have goosebumps. I'm so excited.
Well, thanks. I'm excited too. I think this is my first one of these, so it's cool. It's cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, welcome. I promise to be kind, maybe.
Okay.
But what happens with Planet Lizzdom is I always welcome everybody to jump on the comments, ask questions, participate, and really kind of make you feel welcome and get to know you. You know, already I have a lot of people sending a lot of love and salutations. You know, Erica Wilson says, hello. Hi, Erica.
Oh, hi, Erica. You're the best.
Oh, hi, Erica. And Bridget's sending you a little bit of love tonight as well.
She's a gem.
So much. Oh my gosh. Hey, I think you know this lady, Monica de Savoie.
Oh, someone's sis. What up, sis?
That's my sister Monica. Actually, you will find her in the thank you comments every week because if it weren't for her and quite a few other wonderful people, this show would not happen. So thank you.
Yeah, she's a real gem.
Jay Monzos, he's saying greetings and salutations. So thank you, Jay. You know, something that I do want to kind of address is that, you know, it is so exciting to have you in the studio here. You know, if it weren't for what's happening right now, I don't think any of us would have really learned how these streaming apps work and made something like this happen.
It's true.
You know, something I always like to discuss is, you know, there is before COVID, during COVID, after COVID, you know, AC/DC sort of thing. As an actor, you know, I kind of want to show everybody what you've been up to because, you know, I know what you've been doing, but not everybody knows, you know, what you do. I went and creeped you on IMDb, which was just such a wonderful and surreal experience. But I came to discover that you've been in Elysium, Hairspray, something called The Perfect Pickup. I have not yet seen that.
Yeah, it's a wild one.
It looks really, really awesome. And this is my favorite. I just think it's fantastic. Hank and Mike.
Yeah.
We're so close to Easter, and I think this is probably the greatest photo I've ever seen of you.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
I think that movie was from 2008, and I've loved watching that every year.
Yeah. Oh, really? You watch it every year? That's awesome.
Oh, it's become kind of a tradition for me, you know, because I'm just like, I love bunnies, as you all know. Geez, I don't know why. You know, Peter Rabbit is a bunny. But I like that, you know, the bunnies in Hank or Mike are a little bit flawed.
Yeah.
A little bit interesting.
It's like Bad Santa with bunnies.
Exactly. Bad Santa with bunnies. Exactly. Yeah. Guys, if you haven't seen it yet, you really do need to go watch it. You can find it either through Derek Gilroy's IMDb, which is, again, I think this is it. No, that's your Instagram. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up the banners. But yes, if you go to Derek Gilroy, IMDb, you will find Hank and Mike for sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, you know, just doubling back a little bit, you know, when all of this happened a year ago, I can't believe it's been a year. So wild to me. You know, what were you doing? And, you know,
man, well, 2020 was going to gear up to be a really kind of big year for me. I'd taken a vacation, and I hadn't done that in a really long time, and I went to this all inclusive and chilled out for a week, and actually got a DJ gig down there. So I DJ'd in the Dominican, and it was really fun. And then I come back and I DJ like. One of my residencies was a place called Shark Club, and it's kind of a sports bar. So they would have me come in and host and DJ, and I did a old school, new school hip hop night there on Wednesday. So I came back to do that Wednesday, and there was a Raptor game on. And as that was happening, the NBA shut down, and I was like, "Oh, this is getting serious now." And then the next day, the NHL shut down, and then on the Saturday when I went to DJ there was like no one in there. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a big deal. Like, this is going to be bad, you know? And, you know, yeah, I planned to come back. I had like 2 new residencies that I was starting as a DJ. I was auditioning for like a bunch of stuff. Like, I came back, and literally within the week and a half that I was back from vacation to when there was the shutdown, I had like a bunch of opportunities, like a bunch of acting opportunities, and like a bunch of auditions and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a good year. And then all gone. So yeah, and every, you know, like the residencies like left. I had a bunch of corporate events I was going to do that finished. Like, yeah, it was not the best.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, this is why I always have a segment called losses versus wins, because, you know, yes, it kind of started out rough in terms of things that weren't going to happen. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I did notice that a lot of creative people kind of, you know, found a way to thrive elsewhere, you know, because the stage, yes, the stage did disappear, but it didn't disappear entirely. It just changed. You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. You know, a lot of my DJing peers, you know, started streaming and stuff like that. I made a lot more mixes that I put onto my like Mixcloud and stuff like that. But acting stopped. Like, acting really did stop. You know, like I often take not often. I take a class like once a week, and like trying to do that online just didn't quite jive with me, but like that is thriving. Like, that studio is doing great online, and people are really getting a lot out of it. And then, yeah, you're right. Like, a lot of creative outlets showed up that I took advantage of. Like, I'm the type of person that if I don't get a creative outlet, like, I really go squirrely. So there's this thing called there's this thing in Toronto that happens once a month called the Toronto Monologue Slam, and they took it online and took it nationwide. And so, whereas before it's like, you know, you and 30 other people get up, do a monologue, and it's kind of like American Idol, where they have judges, and they give you like you know, creative feedback and stuff like that, and then you have like a round 2, and then the audience picks the winner type of thing. This went national. It went like, so everywhere from Montreal, Ottawa, Vancouver, Northwest Territories, Manitoba, like everyone was doing it. And so now it's like, you know, you're one of 2,000 people doing it and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, it was like, that was interesting. I was like, oh, this is really cool. And you get to see all these people kind of work their artist out, for lack of a better word, you know?
Absolutely. I'm always curious to know, you know, what sort of streaming apps you did use, because you're saying this is your first time here. I know this time last year, I did not know what Zoom was, what StreamYard was. Yeah. I knew Facebook and Instagram, and that is about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Zoom. You know, like I use Zoom a lot. I do whenever I can, I'll do what's called a cold reading series.
Oh, cool.
And basically what you do is a writer will submit their script, and then the moderator will cast the script, and then over Zoom we just read it. Like I did one last night, which was lovely. This really great really great filmmaker, this guy named Ryan Andrews, who's typically like a horror guy, made like a lot of horror and horror movies and thrillers, but he has a severely autistic son and wrote a drama about a single mother of a severely autistic girl who's like a teenager, and kind of how it is to raise a severely autistic. It's a beautiful script. It's really great.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so what it has done for me is like it is introduced me to a lot of artists that I normally wouldn't know or get to know them more, you know. Even something that's happened to me as well is like I started gaming a lot, and friends of mine who were like acquaintances in the acting industry are now like really good friends of mine because we game like every day, every other day. And these are people that are like leads on huge TV shows in like the States and stuff like that. And like we were friends before, but like now we're tight. Like we speak to each other every day, you know?
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it's neat.
No, that's really cool. You know, and that's something that's I noticed for myself as well. Like you have the ability through technology still communicate and connect with people. It's a little bit different, but at the same time, there is something very, for lack of a better term, intimate about it.
Sure. I mean, you know, we're literally sitting in my house right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is my living room. You know, like it's like it's almost like we're doing a show in my living room. I mean, like there is something to be said for that level of intimacy. But it's nice. It's good. I mean, like, listen, it keeps us sane, right? Like we're all social people. Like I know you're social. I'm super social. Like biggest extrovert ever. And like so me like not being able to hang out with my friends, not being able to like go listen to really cool DJs in a bar, not going to the movies. Like I was dying, you know, like and you know, yeah, this is kind of like a real saving grace, and it's great that people are latching onto it and being introduced to it, and yes, thriving on it. Like I'm always like, what made you want to do this?
You know, it's the same sort of thing, you know, as you may or may not know, anyone watching, I am one of 3 women who run a zine called Crap Nation. You know, I might as well do a little shameless self-promotion. Ha ha ha.
There it is.
We were, yes, with my man, Alfred. Right before COVID, we were actually doing zine release parties where you would pay a cover, get to see a couple of bands, which were really awesome, and then you would get the zine with it. And the only way you could get the zine was to come out. Well, all of a sudden, we don't have venues. We can't have the gigs. What do we do? And, you know, my boyfriend is a mentalist and entertainer, and he couldn't perform. You know, we watched everything just disappear. So I actually have to celebrate Bella Morta, who's a wonderful performer, artist.
Right.
She's lovely. She actually started something called Kitchen Cabaret. I don't know if you've seen it, but she started bringing together a lot of circus and sideshow performers and other artists to perform out of their kitchen for something something entertaining. And she actually introduced me to the world of Zoom. And, you know, I did find the technology very intimidating, and I will not, you know, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of cursing and barfing before each performance that I've done for Mysterion and for myself. With the learning curve was really, really high. But all of a sudden I realized, you know, here is a whole new world available to me where I now am in the driver's seat. I now have control over how to broadcast something, you know, and it's still a work in progress. You know, I'm still learning every day. I learned a few new things today, and, you know, a lot of hard lessons and a lot of failures, but a lot of successes as well. And the reason for this show happened right at the end of Christmas. We had done back-to-back shows for the Sentimentalists online, and I just really started to punch above my weight. And I say that all the time because I was really, really having to be confident about broadcasting. And I had a conversation with a fellow performer, lead singer of an amazing band from Toronto. I'm still keeping him anonymous because I don't think he's quite ready yet for that spotlight in that sense, because he was really bereft. You know, he was so sad and so, you know, damn near suicidal about the fact that he couldn't perform on stage. And I was walking, you know, down the street one day, and I was like, you know what? The stage didn't disappear, it changed. And we
Mhm.
need to talk about that. So
Mhm.
I immediately messaged him. I'm like, buddy, let's get on Facebook. Let's talk about this. And he was like, no, man, I'm not ready. But I came home
Wow.
and, I remember saying to Mysterion, I'm like, I am compelled to do a show about everyone's experience through this, how we're not only surviving, but thriving. And that evening, we were making a YouTube channel, making a commercial, and within days, we were broadcasting the first episode. So I have him to thank for really believing in this and helping me every week with this. Right now we're doing watch parties. Right now he's promoting, really kind of, with the bullhorn on the soapbox. And I'm so happy that not only him, but all the people who are watching and the people who've been advertising, it is a team effort, and it's, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, it's given me a purpose with my week and something to look forward to. There's now a joy and an energy and a buzz. Like
That's
right now
good.
I've got goosebumps. Like I can't show you because I'm wearing a sweater, but I've got goosebumps. I'm excited. I'm
Well,
energized.
yeah, like listen, any kind of purpose or outlet, especially, you're very artistic, I'm artistic, you know, not being able to be artistic when you're an artist it's really difficult. It's, like I can understand why your musician friend was like, oh, I'm dying inside, like I get it. I totally get that, like I personally I haven't DJ'd live in a year. Like I haven't, like, just like, and the funny thing is that like one of my last gigs was like a really, really cool gig. I got to like DJ at Lee's Palace and open for Onyx, which is like an old school like hip hop group who I love. Like they're amazing. And yeah, I got to open for them, and then shut down. Like I can't imagine what it's like. Can't imagine what it's like to not be able to perform live, especially if you're a musician. Like that must be really tough.
Oh my God, absolutely. Something that I do want to talk about is, DJ D-Rock. You have opened up for the likes of DJ Jazzy Jeff, Mixmaster Mike. You were saying Onyx as well.
Yeah.
Shop Blair. I actually led him around to the Much Music Video Awards one year. I was his
Get out of
chaperone
here.
sort of thing. Cool dude.
Right on.
Mad Child, Jackalope, Big Sugar, Treble Charger.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was
good
fun.
for you, man.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I was real lucky. I got a gig at a bar, and they used to just love randomly with no notice bringing in like a ton of like really cool musicians and stuff like that, and they would always have me open for them. So they had a whole summer concert series where they would bring in like late 90s, early 2000s bands to like do acoustic sets, and I would like DJ before they went on, you know what I mean? So yeah, like Big Sugar and one person I didn't open for because it was on a different night, but like Stephen Page did it for Bare Naked Ladies, and Treble Charger, and yeah, it was really cool. Like them just doing their thing acoustically on this patio. It was really great. And then they would also do stuff like advertise a week beforehand, but just bring in DJ Jazzy Jeff. And if you happen to be at the bar that night, you would see DJ Jazzy Jeff or Mixmaster Mike DJ for free. Like it was a free show. You know what I mean?
Like,
yeah.
like I'm a music fan, and that's something that you and I really connected over when we first met. And I mean, how do you not fanboy out when you see them? Because I mean, they're legendary heavyweights.
I do fanboy out. Especially with Jazzy Jeff, like he's one of my DJ heroes. So, like when he was first there, I was just like, okay, let's gotta chill out. I'm just about to talk to Jeff. All right. And luckily, we had like mutual friends, and we would talk and stuff like that. So like the first thing that I said to Jeff is I relayed a story from there's another really famous Canadian DJ, this guy DJ Scratch Bastard, and he does like Bastard's Barbecue every summer and stuff like that, and he's a buddy of mine, and he told me a story, and I went to go see another really famous New York DJ one night, and the guy that opened for him was better than he was. Like this guy, Big Jax, and Scratch Bastard was telling me a story that at his wedding, Big Jax was like one of the DJs, and then Jazzy Jeff was going to DJ afterwards. And Big Jax is doing such a good job. Jeff's like, you don't need me. This guy's killing it. And like, I love that. Like, just like, it's just like so humble and awesome. And like, he didn't need to be in the spotlight. Like, he was just like, there's no reason, like, I'm not going to be able to do any better job than this guy. So, you know what I mean? Like, let's just let him play. I'm having a great time, you know?
That is true artistry right there.
Yeah.
You know, like that. Again, I've got goosebumps about that story. Like, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I told Jeff that story, and he's like, oh yeah, man. He's like, you know, tore it up. And then, yeah. And then like one of the highlights of my life is that I DJ'd before him. And then after he got off, because he just did an hour and a half set, but he didn't leave the DJ booth. He like watched my set and like, you know, was like, oh shit, this is so cool. Like, blah, 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 like, oh, that's a good tune. You know, like was kind of like vibing with me. And I'm like, holy shit, you know, like freaking out. So,
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like one of my DJ heroes was like, oh, respect. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So.
Huge respect. Monica is actually saying, do you think you might broadcast a live DJ stream? You know, she like myself, we love your sets on Mixcloud, and it would be killer to see her live set online sometime.
So I thought about it, but my thing is that this is going to sound weird, but DJing is kind of what I do for a living. And acting, like, you know, acting is like the number one passion. Now it's a very, 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 very close second, like, you know, millimeter second. But like, you know, the thing is that I look at some of the people that stream, and even like even Jazzy Jeff, for example, like when he streams, out of the whole world, he'll get like 150 people watching him. And when they watch, it's an average watch of like 15, 20 minutes. Also, like if I were to do it for a source of income, every DJ that I know that's doing it that way, like isn't really making a lot of money. Yeah. So the thing is that like consistently setting up every week for 4 hours to DJ to 10 people, 12 people, 14 people, I'm just not 100% sure like how viable that is to me. And also on Twitch, which is where most people do it, like it's just difficult to kind of get promoted and stuff like that. Now I have considered doing it on TikTok, because the good thing about TikTok is people stream through the pages, and then they'll stop and like watch stuff. Like I've done it before too, like where I've seen DJs play and they stop and like they'll get like 500, 600 people at a time. And those are DJs I've never even heard of. You know what I mean? So they're just like, you know, Dave in his basement and he's getting it. So I was considering doing that and starting it that way and then maybe switching over. But I think by the time that all that would kind of gather steam for me, hopefully most bars and patios and stuff will be open, and I'll just go back to
hopefully. It's the sort of thing where, you know, I don't know about you, but I've become really go with the flow with a lot of things right now. You know, one day I think something's going to happen, the next day something else happens.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah, you can't get married to any kind of idea right now.
No, I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I've turned into that person where I'm like, every day I'm out of the house is a good day, you know?
That's true, yeah. I got to go get bananas. Hooray!
Exactly. You know. I can buy cat litter. Woo!
Yeah. So like walking outside on my feet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the other day I walked up the street like to go to the bank, and my body was just like, hey, it's been a month since you've walked more than a block. Stop it. You know, like, I'm just like, that's the worst feeling ever.
Oh my God. I absolutely can relate. I had a hard time walking up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing and shaking. And I was like, I am not 300 years old.
I know. This is the thing. It's like, oh, anyway.
Well, I know since I have gone back to work, I've actually been making myself take every flight of stairs. I don't care. Non-negotiable. I'm going up those stairs because I need to be strong again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I mean, I'm in the midst of doing that too. My new roommate is like a ex mixed martial arts fighter, and as soon as the gym opens, I'm like, all right, beat me up, like let's get it done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a home invasion, you know who's going to look after you.
Oh yeah, and his room's right by the front door, so the guy's in big trouble if he just decides to barrel through the front door.
Yeah. Don't rob Derek.
No, 3 big guys live here.
Oh my gosh, thank you, Donna. Listen, there's a story I want to tell about you before we
Okay.
go back to your acting. Because, again, I've known Derek for a very long time. And actually, I remember how I met you.
Tell me.
And I met you when we were going to see Prodigy, the Prodigy out at Cops Coliseum in Hamilton.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know anybody that well at that point, but I knew a few people in the goth scene who were going to go. So I got a ride with them.
Yeah.
And I met you at a McDonald's, and I had just seen you on the Camilla Scott show a couple of weeks prior.
Yeah.
Remember that show? And I was like, hey, you were that guy on that show.
Yeah.
And you and I started talking about music, and I was a goth, and I loved hip hop. And you were just completely gobsmacked. You're like, you love hip hop? I love hip hop.
Yeah.
I do hip hop night in Sanctuary, you know. And I remember I started singing Skilo to you, and you were just like, what the hell?
Yeah. No, it's the best. Yeah. Well, I remember like when I hung out in that scene, people used to call me like homie goth because I would be all into like goth industrial and crunchy EDM and stuff like that, but also be into Wu-Tang Clan and Gangstar and all the rest of it.
Right, and I loved coming to that DJ night. I think you did it on Tuesdays.
Holy shit, you have a good memory. Yeah, that's right. I did.
I loved it. I was like in my PVC. You know, if I could have spun on my head on the dance floor, I totally would have. But I was like, yeah, you know.
Yeah, well, because
Well,
because Sanctuary also had like ridiculous rules where it's like you can't play this other shit. But I'm like, and like when I started DJing on a Tuesday, at first I stayed close to format because I didn't want to get fired or anything. But then I realized no one from management ever goes there on a Tuesday. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. And I remember one time, at that time too, like one of the things I did for money is I worked at a haunted attraction called Screamers, and we did like the rap party for Screamers there. So I had to play like a whole bunch of different stuff. And that was like one of the busiest Tuesdays they ever had. And I was playing only like maybe 30% goth industrial. And yeah, it was interesting. Like that was my first DJ gig, was doing that. And then like DJing at a bunch of like rock bars. And then I don't know if I'm sure you do. Like you remember the bar Whiskey Saigon, right?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so they used to do a live to air 80s night, and then they shut down, and a new nightclub opened up, and it was like this 4-story crazy thing where each floor was a different vibe.
I recall that. I don't remember what it was called though.
It was called Joe Nightclub. And when I first went there to apply for a job, I went to apply for a bartending job, and then I noticed like all the bartenders in there were model hot girls and guys. Like, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm never getting a bartending job here. Like that's never going to happen. But then I switched gears and I was like, are you guys still doing the live to air on Sundays? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, are you doing another floor when that's open? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I'm your guy. And I just didn't leave them alone. Like, but like for a month before they opened, every week I would just go there and bother them. They're like, how's it going? What's up? And they're like, okay, we'll give you a shot. And then that's how I really started to proper DJ, because I started DJing there on Thursdays and Saturdays instead of the Sundays. Like I was like their party guy because I was comfortable on the mic because of acting and stuff. And, so giving away T-shirts and, let's do shots, being like the crazy party guy and DJing at the same time. But then the third floor DJ, who was a legit DJ, this guy DJ Storm, was like, you can't mix. So come in an hour and a half before work and I'll fucking teach you. And I was like, okay. That's how
I love it. I love it. I love it. Greg is actually asking if you'll ever do a master class on DJing.
I mean, you're the first person ever in my life to ask, Greg. So I don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, I suppose I could. I don't. I'm not like. I personally think that there are other DJs there that are more qualified to do that than me. Like, but I mean, sure. I mean, it's something I should think about, I guess.
That's definitely. I mean, it's a great question. And again, you know, this is what I love about process. The revelations that come from just, you know, trying things out, or, you know, whatever. Like before tonight, it was never a thought, but maybe now it's something that, you know, you can consider.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Why not?
Ideas.
Ideas. I love ideas. You know,
Yeah.
You can never have enough ideas.
That's true.
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm being asked to sing Skilo.
Oh. All right.
Oh, I love that. Do you remember his song? I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl. If I did, I would call her. I wish I had a rabbit with a hat and a bat and a something.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to quit my day job.
Yeah.
I know. No, Cardi.
You got it down. You're flowing.
All right. Oh my God. Okay. Speaking of flowing, I want to kind of just double back and talk about your acting, because you sent me some really great reels of some of the things that you've done. You were in a show called The Detectives on CBC.
Yeah.
Playing a gentleman named Murray.
Yeah, that was an intense one. That was a true story about this guy, not a very nice person, who kidnapped a little girl and killed her. And I was playing him in that show.
Oh my gosh!
And it was it was pretty intense.
How did you get into a headspace to play someone like that?
It's not pleasant, but you. Oh God, how do you get in that headspace? I suppose you just have to think about things that you don't necessarily care about, and then that comes through the eyes, and then you just say your line. I had a lot of thoughts towards like things I'm indifferent about, or things that I don't care about, or maybe things I should care about but don't care about. You know what I mean? Like, because that's sort of like psychopathic behavior, and also acting on impulses without any consequence. You know what I mean? And just kind of like, you know, so. The strange thing about acting is I can have those thoughts and they're inconsequential to like anyone's real life, but it'll come across like I'm a sociopath. Like, so, you know, when have I acted on impulse and not cared about the outcome? When I eat a whole pizza all at once and how that makes me feel, or, you know, getting too drunk, or you know, like something like that, and just being like, I don't care about that shit, like whatever, I didn't hurt anyone, yada yada yada. Because like if you notice, like a lot of those guys, like they, you know, like they don't, you know, like watching, you know, I did watch like a little bit of things about like killers and stuff like Ted Bundy and stuff like that, and you know, he, like those guys just, they either don't care that they did anything wrong, or they don't feel like they did anything wrong. They feel like, you know, it's society that's wrong, or so on and so forth. Like they have no kind of they have no conscience about, you know, the lives they took, the lives they ruined, so on and so forth.
Well, set up the scene for us here, because you really kind of manifest all of that in this scene. What is happening that's led up to this point that we're about to watch?
Yeah, so this guy just got arrested, and the police detective is trying to get him to confess, and I'm kind of stonewalling him and stuff like that. Played by the great the cop is played by the amazing Kenneth Mitchell, really great Canadian actor. So
very cool. Well, let's watch this for a second, because I mean, I've known you for a long time, but I'm so impressed with your acting. I want everyone to see what you are capable of.
Thanks.
Here's Murray from The Detectives.
Morning, ma'am. Is that your ATV out front?
Murray, what's this about?
Oh, we're in the neighborhood looking for a missing child.
The girl from the news.
That's right. Hello, sir. I'm Detective Mike Richard.
Murray Lyons. He calls for Murray. Murray comes to the door. Murray has a beard.
Is that your ATV out front, Mr. Lyons?
Yeah.
When was the last time you took it for a ride?
Oh, a while ago. It don't work.
Well, listen, we're knocking on doors, canvassing the neighborhood. Do you mind telling me what you were doing last night?
Working on the ATV.
Oh, yeah? What's wrong with it?
Doesn't work right. Breaks down.
Listen, while we're canvassing the neighborhood, we're taking photos. Do you mind?
No, I don't think so.
Come on, Murray, it's for the girl from the news.
All right. Now, you're sure you didn't take your ATV out last night, maybe even for a test drive?
I stayed in last night. I didn't go out.
Okay. Thank you.
Man, that's amazing.
Thanks.
I completely forgot that we were watching this. I'm just like right at the screen. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. That was a great experience for me. I shot that in Montreal, and I mean, it wasn't a great experience inhabiting that guy's head. He was a real monster. You know what I mean? Like he sexually assaulted and murdered an 8-year-old girl. But like, meeting everyone that's attached to that show, and I got like a little bit of movie star treatment. They like flew me out there and put me up in a hotel and per diem and all the things. So that was kind of fun, but yeah, no, he that's a real guy that, and he's a real creepy looking dude too. I haven't seen a picture of him in a minute, but yeah, he's like a weird looking dude.
Oh yeah, no, you did a great job. Like I remember watching that clip at first, and I was like, "What is the story with this?" Like, chilly.
Well, basically, like, yeah, this guy took his ATV out and like gave this little girl a ride and took her out into the woods, and I think he like tried to sexually assault her, and she screamed, and he killed her. And then basically the whole thing with that story is that the policeman went to speak to a psychiatrist because he wasn't getting anywhere with Murray Lyons, and the psychiatrist was like, you have to like make him feel that you're on his side, so you have to like encourage him to like speak to you, and then and that means like not judging what a monster he is, you know what I mean, almost blaming the victim. And like many times in that episode, the detective's like, I'm sick to my stomach that I have to be like, these girls were asking for it, gross, right? But like, it finally gets me to confess and take them out to where I buried this body, and then that's how they arrested this guy. That's how they got him. They outwitted him that way. But like at the same time, it's like it was such a traumatizing thing for that detective, and deservedly so, that before like while they were taping his confession, before that guy even came in, he taped a thing going like, I don't believe this. I don't like, I'm not condoning this, like this is to get a confession out of this guy.
Yeah.
So
now, as an actor playing this villain, I'm always curious, do they have someone on set that kind of speaks with you afterwards, or like debriefs you to decompress? Because I imagine as an actor, you're delving so deep into this character, and there's probably a lot of conflicting emotions playing someone like this.
Yeah. No. That's kind of up to you as the artist to do that work. I'm very lucky, supremely lucky, that I found an acting coach that realizes that sometimes you're going to that's going to be asked of you, that you're going to have to do some really intense work.
Yeah.
And I've done really intense work in her class. And there have been several times over the years where, we're going into class thinking we're doing our scenes, and she'll be like, today we're going to talk about your specific coping mechanisms for decompressing after doing intense work.
Okay.
And it is astounding at how many actors are like, I don't have that. You know what I mean? And then, you can see how easy, some actors fall into tragedy, like Heath Ledger, like Philip Seymour Hoffman, where they turn to booze and drugs and sex and food and all the things, like to kind of, to cope. So she literally kind of gave us, exercises, things to do, you know what I mean? Like meditation and breathing and watch something fun on TV, cuddle your partner, things, you know what I mean? To kind of things that are constructive and things that are good for you, you know what I mean? In order to kind of leave the work at work.
Right.
So for me personally, the thing that is tough for me is I'm playing this monster. He's an awful human being, but I have to empathize with him. I have to find a way in. Yeah. I can't, there has to be something about him that I can latch onto or like, which is weird. But it's like, if I don't do that, if I don't humanize him, I'm just, a caricature of a villain, twirling my mustache as I'm like tying the damsel in distress to the railroad tracks, and it's not real. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's kind of one of the ways in, is empathizing with your character. And trying to empathize with someone who, is that awful is not easy. So
no, I wouldn't say so,
Yeah. So for me, I guess it was talking to my co-stars, having a laugh with them, maybe having a beer after work or something like that, phoning my friends when I get home from work and just asking them, like, how was your day? What'd you do? And just goofing off with them and kind of leaving it at work. You know what I mean? Leaving it on the set, which is sometimes hard to do. But also, I kind of feel like, maybe, most, if not all actors should see a shrink as well. So,
yeah, I highly recommend it. I think everybody at some point should sit and talk with a professional. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I mean, what you're talking about right now is so helpful just in general for what everybody is going through, because everybody is going through some sort of trauma on some kind of level in some different flavor, and I'm really glad that you were bringing that up with your acting coach, because everybody does need those tools at 100%. Some point.
And it's not anything to feel ashamed about or whatever. It should be something that it's just it's like what you need to kind of live a full and healthy life. And sometimes life can beat you up a little bit, and you need someone to kind of help you sit up,
Absolutely. And that's something that I really kind of touch on every show, because it is so important to discuss it. For the first time in my life, I'm dealing with adjustment disorder. Didn't know that was a thing, but here we are. I know a lot of people who are dealing with a lot of things that they thought they had under control, and now because of the pandemic are just rearing their ugly heads, anxiety, agoraphobia, panic attacks, et cetera, et cetera. It's all just coming out of the woodwork. And a lot of people who were secure in the knowledge that they had whatever it was under control are all of a sudden, without the tools. And all of a sudden, this monster's in their face. And it doesn't have to be so wildly out of control. I think mental health should be at the forefront of a priority for being looked at. After, people always are so quick to write a prescription for, a physical pain, but what about the mental pain? That's just as important.
I think talking it out as well to a professional is I've never been to a psychiatrist. I've never had prescription medication or anything, but I've been to one or two psychologists in my time, and just talking it out with someone who's a professional that can kind of guide you down this like thorn bush is, it's supremely helpful. Supremely helpful.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and like, listen, dealing with something like a pandemic, dealing with something like this is so far out of any of our comprehension at first. Like, like I fell back on like really terrible eating habits. Like that's what I did for like pretty much all of last year up until the beginning of this year, where I'm like, well, I can't go to the movies, can't date, can't go hear DJs, can't go to the bar, can't get together with friends, can't do it. I'm just going to eat all the junk food, like all the junk food. Like Uber Eats was my girlfriend. It was amazing. But yeah, but then it's just like, oh, I just gained 30 pounds in 9 months. Holy shit. You know what I mean? So yeah. So like,
like, I know I don't need pants, but I do need pants.
Yeah. It was strange. Like some of my clothes were like not fitting me anymore. And I'm like, oh my God. All right. Like, let's pump the brakes here.
Oh my God, I totally get it. Because, well, I mean, also you're not moving around as much.
No, not at all. My daily routine, almost all of last year was the occasional self-tape, and I'll watch a movie, and then I'll play video games, and then I'll watch a movie, and I'll talk to my roommates, and then I'll watch video games and watch a movie and go to bed. And that's what I did.
Walking from one end of the house to the other was a marathon. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then like, because that's my routine, I'm just like, do I want to cook? Fuck no. I absolutely don't want to cook. So here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They make it so easy too. Trust me.
I know.
But it's
all the delicious food.
Stupid delicious food. Oh my God. Which I will be enjoying after this show.
Me too.
Without pants.
No, yeah, I same with me.
No, seriously, Derek, I have to tell you, like, there have been some episodes this winter and this winter where, it was such an undertaking just to do this.
Right.
I've done shows in my pajamas because I'm just like, I don't care.
Yeah, you look fantastic right now.
Thank you. Well, this was a long time in the making. Like, I actually had the wherewithal to put on a sweater today and do a little something, I actually brushed my teeth, Thank you. So does my teeth. I want to lighten it up a little bit and introduce everyone to Dr. Barry from Jet. You said it was on HBO in the States?
It was on HBO in Canada, and it was on Cinemax in the States.
That's it. Okay. Tell us about Dr. Barry.
He's a goof. He's a doctor that comes up with a plan, like a heist, and he gets in touch with the wonderful Carla Gugino, who is a great actor, and she's a thief, and he basically is like, I know this guy who's a patient of mine, this rich dude, who at his summer house just leaves this amazing car there, go steal it. And so I come up with this idea, but then, to show off in front of my assistant, who I'm also sleeping with, I'm like telling her everything. And then it gets back to Carla Gugino, and she gives me a tongue lashing, tells me I'm an idiot.
Well, let's take a look at the scene, because again,
sure.
It shows another side of your acting, which is just fantastic. Everybody meet Dr. Barry from Jet.
Yeah.
How much does she know?
Excuse me?
Vicky.
My receptionist?
I don't care you're banging her. I simply need to know what I'm dealing with here.
Hey, I don't like your attitude. This is my deal, I put this thing together, brought it to Evans. So what I do in my private life is very little of your concern. And you just waltzing in here, I gotta tell you, I'm shocked at the level of unprofessionalism that...
This morning, when you drove past the Meadows estate, what did you tell Vicky?
How did you... What, are you people following me?
Join us. Vicky, Barry is involved in a criminal enterprise that will go off the rails if he's caught driving past the scene of the crime again. Do you understand?
Yeah, she doesn't know anything.
Whatever he promises you or tells you is fine with us, as long as you keep him away from that place for the next few days. Think you can manage that?
Of course.
Who else has he told about?
Hey, I'm standing right here,
Keep your voice down, Doctor.
No one else. I swear.
Good. Now everybody's on the same page. I leave this matter in your hands.
He won't go near there again. I promise.
Oh man, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, Dr. Barry.
Yeah, he's a bit of a goofball.
I, I think just to be fair to Process, I am very curious as well. How did you prepare to play him?
Well, he's just I dove into my insecurities about being overweight a little bit. That's what I did. You know what I mean? Where I'm trying to impress the girl. Like, you know what I mean? I'm going to make all this money. And even though I'm a doctor, it's not enough. And like, like you saw the girl played by the amazing Natalie Hall, like she's gorgeous. And so I'm just like, so there's a bit that's cut, like there's a bit more of that scene that they cut out of the show where, my character's trying to convince her. It's like, she's acting all tough, but I'm the boss. You know what I mean? Like, and she's just like, oh, I know, honey. You know what I mean? Like, just really kind of placating to me. So he's just this really insecure guy. He's just like insecure, like overweight dude who's trying to be cool. Like, I mean, listen, he's a doctor. You'd think like that would be enough, but he has to get involved in like a criminal enterprise and with the Russian mafia, and it's just like, he's just this insecure guy. He wants to be cool. He's the guy at the party that gets too drunk or too high or flirts with too many women. You know what I mean? He just like overcompensates for everything. So.
Well, I think we can all relate to that at some point where, we just kind of feel like we have to do way more and be really extra just to matter and to count. And, I know I've been that person in the past, Luckily, everything that I've done was, before cell phones. And so it's all stuff of legend and romantic.
Yeah. Listen, we all give it to, but that guy's motivations and stuff like that. Motivations to sound like an actor. That guy's reason for doing stuff is like his insecurity motivates everything. So sometimes that's not like the nicest place for me to go to either, because like it's not like I think about that kind of stuff all the time. But that's who that guy is. Like that motivates, at least for that show, motivates everything that he does. Is that he wants to be, he wants to be accepted by, like there's another episode that I did of that, and then in that episode, it's me and Gil Bellows and Carly Gugino, and I'm telling them about the heist. It's obvious I really want Gil Bellows to like me, like this mob enforcer dude. You know what I mean? Like, so, exactly. So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's his insecurities that are motivating him a lot. So
absolutely. And I mean, that is just the power of being a great actor. You've had the opportunity to work with a lot of really big heavyweights, and anything that I've seen you do. And I apologize, I just could not figure out Vimeo. I don't know how to turn it into an MP4 to play here. So I really do encourage everybody, go to IMDb and check out all the things that Derek has done, because you are a very multifaceted actor. Like, every time I've seen something you're doing, you blow me away, because I know you as Derek the person, Derek the DJ.
Right.
I forget that you do have such a range. I think that's the word I'm trying to find. You have a range, and it just keeps getting better. Yeah,
well, that's the thing that I've discovered with acting, is that the more life experience you have, the more you have to draw from, the more you're confident in your life, the more you're confident in your abilities. Like they make that comparison. You do something for, what is it, to get really good at something, you do it for 10,000 hours or something.
Yeah.
And you're an expert or something like that. So the older I get, the more confident I am in those abilities. Like my my insecurities and the things that I was really worried about when I first became an actor are no longer what I think about. You know what I mean? No longer what I worry about. And also, it's not just me as well. I surround myself with supremely talented people and people who challenge me and people who challenge me as an artist. Like I said, my acting coach, Sophie Ann Rooney, like I was, before taking classes with her, I really was very limited as an artist. Like there were things that I either wouldn't or couldn't access and do. And she pulled that out of me for sure. Like I did the work, but she led me by the hand down that way. And, I really do give her props for that,
I mean, that's absolutely marvelous, Derek. I mean, I always like to talk about what is next. And it's not necessarily what you may or may not have planned, although I am curious to know if there's anything that you can tell us about that you do have in the works. But, you at some point will probably draw on your experience with COVID and the pandemic and quarantine and all the things, that entailed in it. But what do you want to do when this, when we move forward, like a year from now, 2 years from now, what is on your radar?
Just keep being challenged as an artist, which sometimes can get difficult because you'll plateau. Things will, you just won't be consistently making like forward motions the way that you expect and want. But yeah, like just, working more and discovering more of myself and my artist and what my voice is in this industry. I kind of have an idea of what it is, but to explore that more, to be confident in that voice, or more confident in that voice. If we're talking about like specific things, I'd love to, do like leads on a show, or another reoccurring would be great. And, to work with, I have a ton of friends that are making stuff now I would love to work with, and, do like parts that really challenge me.
Absolutely. I would like to put my paw in the ring right now to say that I think you are incredible when you were being dramatic and dark. I would love to see you doing more of those really juicy villainous roles, because I mean, and I'm getting goosebumps again. You have a range, and I didn't realize just how much there is for you to work with. I mean, you are very good at taking over the screen.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you very much. That's very, very lovely of you to say.
You're welcome.
Yeah, well, those parts challenge me. They really do, because I'm not, I don't know. I'm not that way. You know what I mean? I like people. I like getting along with people. I like being out. I'm an extrovert. I love, in real life, I like making people laugh and, having a good time and stuff like that. So to tap into someone who is not that way, and, it's, and I really do give credit where credit's due. My acting coach really did bring that out of me. I really felt like I wasn't capable of that type of work for a very long time. I was really nervous to kind of really explore anger and rage and stuff like that. I was terrified I'd lose control and be, you know what I mean? And so I just never allowed myself to get there. I would fake it. You know what I mean? There's an expression in acting called pushing moments, where you're not actually engaged. You're playing what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like you know, someone's angry, they yell and bang their fist and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like you're not really going through it, and it's and especially now with HD and 4K, like you notice, like that's the difference between a lot of really great actors and bad actors, is that the great actors are engaged, they're connected to their scene partner, they're connected to something visceral in themselves, and that is warranting and pushing the moments forward. When you're doing it on your own, where you're like, okay, this is where he gets mad, so rah, 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 I'm angry, that like people can see that, and people can see that more now so than ever. Everyone has a big HD TV in their living room. The movie screens are now 4K HD, and they're 3 stories high. Like, the camera does not lie. It does not blink. So you to not be authentic like that, it's going to show now more than ever. So,
well, Derek, you were incredibly authentic in your portrayal and your acting, and I truly am so excited to see what is next for you. Every time I see you on the red carpet, I'm so happy for you and so excited. And at the risk of being a total fangirl, I look forward to seeing what you're doing next. I can't believe that this hour has already gone by. I'm having so much fun chatting with you. I know it's already been an hour. I do have to wrap it up, but I'm so glad and grateful that you could be with us here today. And I can't wait to promote everything that you do in the future, because I do believe in you. You are wonderful.
Well, right back at you.
I'm so honored to have you on our show this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Guys, thank you so much for participating in the comments. Don't go away, Derek. I'm going to chat with you after the show. But thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, and congratulations on this. This is so wonderful. I'm so glad that you found a wonderful outlet in these crazy times. It's great.
Thank you so much, Derek. We'll see you soon, okay?
See you later.
Bye. Guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It is just such an honor to be able to connect with all of you every week. And I'm so proud of you guys for coming out and for participating, because this show, again, is for you. And it's all about you. And it's about, showing you that as an artist, as a creator, as an innovator, you cannot beat yourself up if there's a day that you can't get out of bed. You can survive, and you most certainly can thrive. And this show is for you. Something that I've been making sure to tell everybody every week and on the ticker is that it does cost money to broadcast. And if you really love what I'm doing, please don't hesitate to send me a little bit of love at paypal.me/Lizzdom, because it does allow me to make great content for you guys. It allows me to learn how to use new media and new technology and, different ways to kind of make this show bigger and better for you. If you have any suggestions or questions or any tips and tricks on, how to make the show more engaging, please reach out to me. I'm only a DM away. I love connecting with you guys. I'm so proud of you for connecting with me tonight. And I truly, truly look forward to seeing you guys every week. Thank you so much for coming to Planet Lizzdom. And remember to tune in, turn on, and take part, because truly, you never know who is going to land, right here on Planet Lizzdom. So I want to wish you guys a really wonderful week. Be well, take care, and I will see you soon on StreamYard. Take care, guys. Bye.